15 things to never say in a relationship. If you care about your partner, take note, because this video may save you a lot of headaches. In fact, today we're going to look at 15 things you should never say in a relationship, even when you're particularly angry with your partner. Let's get started. Number 1. Always and never. Saying things like, "You never do anything for me," or "You're always sitting on the couch," won't do any good. First of all, because nothing in a relationship is never or always, so we're already lying when we say those words. But most of all, because this kind of criticism is never constructive and will only put your partner in defensive mode. Continuous criticism has been identified as one of the most frequent reasons for breakups. If we want to criticize our partner, let's do it in a constructive way. Let's explain how we feel and what we would like them to do differently, but not in an accusatory way, because by doing so, we would only make the situation worse. Words like always and never are often used in situations of high emotional tension, anger, and frustration. We should avoid these terms and instead explain our disappointment with concrete and tangible examples. Number 2. I don't care. Saying things like "I don't care" or "whatever" in a hasty tone shows an immature attitude, as well as apathy, which is never good in a relationship. Telling a person we don't care what they do will make them feel undervalued and unloved. If we're with someone, it means we care about what the person says and how she feels, so there's no reason to say otherwise. Number 3. It's all your fault. Statements such as "It's all your fault," or in a sarcastic tone, "Ah, okay, then it's all my fault," are clear attempts to want to play the victim in a given situation. This is real manipulation, and very likely the other person will instinctively raise a defensive barrier to protect herself from accusations, and this will only validate and strengthen the accusations made, leading us to accuse them even more. Avoid creating a situation of attack and defense between the parties. Number 4. Nothing. Saying "nothing" or "I'm okay" when there's a problem is a passive-aggressive behavior that does nothing but generate frustration in the other person. This behavior denotes lack of communication and is very dangerous in a relationship, as it creates a disconnection between the two people. Instead of saying that there's no problem, we should explain to our partner that we do not want to talk about it right now, and that we'd prefer to discuss it later with a cool head in an adult and rational way. Number 5. References to breakup or divorce. Never, ever say things like, "That's it, I'm out of here," or "Damn the day I met you," or "I want a divorce." For goodness sake, if you're serious about breaking up, then it's okay, go ahead with it. But if you're just saying it to draw attention to yourself at a difficult time, then you're being childish. If you say it, do it. But saying it, or even worse, repeating it over and over just to spite your partner, will only make the situation worse. No one is forced to stay in a relationship, and if two people are together, they should love and respect each other. Next time during an argument you want to say words referring to a breakup or divorce, before doing so, take a break and think about if it's what you really want. There are words that once spoken cannot be taken back. Comparing your partner to someone else. Avoid comparing your partner to other people. Instead, focus on his or her merits and the reasons you fell in love with him or her in the first place. If you believe that your other half has flaws that can be improved, point them out, but always in a constructive way and without comparing them to other men or other women. Clearly, and I shouldn't even need to say this, the worst thing a person can do is to compare their current partner with an ex-partner in a negative way. I really hope that anyone over the age of 12 already knows this. Number 7. This is the reason my mother doesn't like you. I said my mother, but I could have used any other person for this example. Let's avoid using third-party opinions to make our point. If we have a problem with our partner's behavior, let's talk about it honestly and directly, but without the need to create virtual allies to support our argument. Number 8. Calm down. Saying "calm down" to your partner during an argument is not an optimal strategy. I honestly can't tell you why, but every time I find myself saying this word when I have an argument with my other half, she doesn't seem to take it too well. Number 9. You must do. Never should we address our partner in an authoritative tone, telling him or her what he or she must or must not do. They're not our property, and neither are they a small child or a dog that we expect to be obeyed by. We can ask them, but never order. Mutual respect is the foundation of every relationship. Number 10. If you really loved me, Saying something like, "If you really loved me, then you'd do this or that," is nothing more than emotional blackmail, which is the worst kind of manipulation. Not only is this a mean way to put pressure on your partner when it comes to making a decision, but it also creates a power struggle within the couple that leads to anger and frustration on both sides. Instead, try to understand the real reason why your partner wants or doesn't want to do a certain thing. Number 11. Without you, I couldn't live. Phrases like this show a lack of self-esteem and self-confidence because they imply that without the other person, we'll be unable to live happily. Mind you, this does not mean that it's wrong to love somebody madly. On the contrary. But before starting a relationship, we should be happy with ourselves. Moreover, such sentences elevate the partner to a higher status than ours, generating an energy imbalance within the couple. Ideally, in a relationship, the two partners should be on the same level, loving each other but not depending completely on the other person. Number 12. Why don't you ever listen to me? Everyone feels that their partner doesn't listen to them, and this is a particularly common problem in long-term relationships where communication between the parties is often taken for granted. Continuing to point out the problem, however, won't help solve it. If you notice that your partner is not paying attention, instead of getting angry all the time, look for a better time to communicate your message when you know you have their full attention. Number 13. You are so selfish. This judgment attacks the person and not their actions, and will only create more friction and disconnection within the relationship. As mentioned before, be careful not to give general non-constructive criticism because it can backfire on you. Instead, try to understand the reasons for a behavior that seems selfish to you and calmly explain why a certain behavior irritates you. Number 14. You have changed. We all change over time, for some things for the better, for others for the worse. Before judging another person, let's think about ourselves. Are we really sure that we also haven't changed for the worse in something? The goal of a relationship is not to be stable, but to be dynamic. The goal should be to grow together while also understanding that sometimes among many positive changes, there will also be some negative ones. Some of these we should strive to improve, others to accept. There are obviously limits to everything, so it's up to our common sense to understand if some changes in our partner have been so drastic to the point that they compromise the well-being of the couple. Number 15. You don't love me. Absolutely never say things like, "You don't love me" or "You don't care about me." If you really meant that, you should be gone by now. So if you don't really mean it, avoid saying it just to draw attention to yourself. Once again, this is an example of manipulative behavior. Always avoid such generic criticism. If your partner does or says something that really makes you doubt his or her love for you, then talk about that particular issue, but do not digress with generic phrases like, "You don't give a damn about me," because they won't bring anything positive to the relationship. Also, many times your partner may not even realize that they're doing something that's hurting you in that way. What about you? Which of these 15 things do you find yourself saying most often during discussions with your partner? And which ones annoy you the most to hear? If you'd like, leave a comment down below. If you enjoyed this video, I invite you to check out the videos 5 Informations We Should Never Share and 11 Things You Should Never Feel Guilty For found on this channel. Thanks so much for watching, have a great day, and we'll see you next time.